It's another episode of America's Hometown Horror that is yet again brought to you by Brush. If you've listened to our show before, you know that Brush is an electric toothbrush that will change the way you think about brushing your teeth. With powerful sonic technology and ultra-gentle bristles, the Brush redefines what it means to have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling when you just leave the dentist, a whole, fresh mouth clean every single day. Our listeners, those would be the listeners of America's Hometown Horror, get 15% off their total purchase with code POD15. That's POD15, not the band, the code. Follow the link in our show description and enter the code POD15, that's POD15, to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine. Been so excited since I got a Brush, you guys. Big time excited. Big, I tell ya.
Great.
All I was going to say was, don't bring me down. Brush!
Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Perfect. And away we go. What is going on, folks? What's up? How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I'm your host. But as always, I am not in the studio by myself doing this. I have some co-hosts here with me, and that would be Kat and Andrew. Guys, what's going on? What's the haps?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Something different on her end. Not much. What's going on with you? There's something going on. You're twirling your hair. What's on your mind? You got something. You're
Phone
thinking
stuff.
of something.
Oh no, I'm trying to make sure that I'm prepared for this week's episode.
You got your categories up?
I have my notes out,
Nice.
and I'm just making sure that I have every point that I want to make.
I enjoy
to talk
preparation.
to.
Very nice. That's a good
Preparation
Even
is,
if it's last minute, I just want to make sure that I have them
is
prepared.
90%. 90% preparation, 10% each.
Absolutely. So, yeah, what's been going on? What have you guys been doing since the last time we recorded? You guys watch anything good? Anything good going on? Anything happening in life?
I'll defer to Kat. She always has something good to say.
I didn't really have time to watch much.
Hey, we're all vaxxed.
Let me down.
Much. Yeah, I know. I really didn't have a lot of time. No, there's not much that I can report. I restarted watching Million Little Things, but that's not really horror related.
I don't even know what you're
it's
talking
horrifying,
about.
but it's yeah.
What is that?
It's like a This Is
Like a
Us
This Is
kind
Us
of
type show.
It's
ABC's version of This Is Us. And
Yeah.
It's awful.
So you watch ABC shows now.
It's all on the DVR. I'm just binging. I'm trying because I watched
Still
it a
an
while
ABC
ago.
show.
I know. It's good. I like
Just
it.
checking.
That's all I've been really.
Sounds
I mean, I
terrible.
haven't really. I've just been kind of trying to get through it and catch up. But
Trying to get through this.
yep,
I'm
pretty
trying
much.
to get through this.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Andrew, nothing to report. Oh, what about, dude, talk to
I've
me
been
about...
watching
there
a
you
documentary on Netflix called Sons of Sam.
go. Yeah. Talk to me about
Very
that.
intriguing. I've seen 3 out of the 4 episodes, and it is... I never knew much about the whole Son of Sam
Yeah.
thing. I just assumed it was Berkowitz, like that's what it was. But this goes in a lot. Big different direction.
Yeah.
Like ties it in with cults, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to. But if you want to watch something really good, a nice 4-episode documentary, watch Sons of Sam. Each episode ends, and you just want to keep watching. Like, it's just very interesting. Whether any of it's like actually factual, like it's all based off of. I mean, it seems like it's very. What's the word? Starts with an S. It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, well, we can pass and go back. Can we
No,
get more
I need
time?
to know what the fucking word is. It's very not circumstantial, because that starts with
That's
a
a
C.
C.
Very speculative.
Okay.
Speculative.
Speculative.
All right.
Okay.
It seems very speculative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, most documentaries,
But
I
it's
feel like, are pretty
also-
one-sided.
yeah,
They're trying to
but
make you
I mean,
believe
honestly-
a point.
But
you
I
know?
like that. Like, to me, it makes sense. But then again, I haven't done any research. I don't know anything. So who the fuck am I to say? Probably a bunch of nonsense. But it's very interesting. It's very entertaining. It was made by the same guy, Josh Zeman, whatever his name is. He did Cropsy. Cropsy?
Oh, okay.
Cropsy.
Cropsy. Yeah, Cropsy.
Cropsy documentary. A couple other ones. But
Cropsy's good. I haven't seen that
Cropsy's
in a
really
long
good.
time.
And this takes place, it's same area. It's Yonkers, New York.
Really?
So it's something that probably hit home with them. Yeah, that's where the son of Sam actually lived, was in Yonkers. I think Berkowitz lived in Yonkers too, but he lived right up
might
the street
have.
from him.
Yeah.
It's just very
One of my
interesting. A lot of
college roommates is
compelling
from Yonkers.
evidence.
Yonkers.
My former landlord, who's dead now, talked about Yonkers all the time. So
Cool.
It's bonkers.
All right, so you recommend
I
Sons
highly
of
recommend
Sam.
watching it. I haven't finished it yet. I got one more. But
Yeah, I can't wait to watch
Very
this.
interesting.
Yeah, Netflix has kind of been on fire lately with the true crime documentaries between Cecil Hotel and then Night Stalker and now this. Seems like they have the true crime game nailed down. So,
it's awesome.
So I had a chance to watch a 2021 horror movie called Willy's Wonderland, which is that Nicolas Cage movie. Yeah, it was fucking ridiculous. It was absolutely insane. The premise of the movie is that Nic Cage, his car breaks down in a town. It gets towed to a gas station, and Nicolas Cage doesn't have any cash. They don't have an ATM, so he agrees to work off the cost of fixing the car at an old abandoned like Chuck E. Cheese type restaurants with like fucking like all the animatronics and all those like weird animals and all that stuff. Nic Cage doesn't speak one word in the entire movie at all. Silent.
That's probably better for him.
Yeah.
Because his voice is annoying.
And it was actually like it wasn't terrible. I actually enjoyed it. The effects with the animatronics were actually kind of cool. It's not a terrible watch, but you got to know what you're in for. It's a goofy fucking Nicolas Cage movie where he's fighting animatronics mostly with like a broomstick.
I wonder if they had to pay him more to not talk.
Maybe.
Like,
I guess I read about the movie after the fact, and apparently, like, he was kind of intrigued by having a part in a movie that he didn't actually have to like say anything.
Huh.
Well,
and just try to act like with his like
one of the best movies.
Expressions and all that
Drive.
shit.
Ryan Gosling says like 8 words, and he's phenomenal in that movie. But
Interesting.
then again, I love Ryan Gosling
Well,
in Drive.
yeah.
You do love Ryan
Your man
Gosling.
crush.
No, 100%. Not just a man crush. I feel like anybody would be attracted to that man.
Did I tell you I saw where Nic Cage is going to be buried?
Oh
Someday?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
where is he going to
So
be
in
buried?
Louisiana, he made there's a cemetery that I went to when I went for my bachelorette party, and like they're different than any other cemeteries around here. Everyone's buried either above ground or like in these kind of drawer things. It's very creepy. I mean, definitely watch if you have some sort of like YouTube video on the New Orleans like cemeteries.
Because they're above the water level.
They're
Like a
above the water
mausoleum,
table.
essentially.
Kind of, yeah. Almost all of them are like that. They're above ground because if they're below the water table. So they've run into problems where bodies, like literally they've said that, where bodies were floating around because they buried them underground a long, long time ago before they knew that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy.
But Nic Cage made like this significant donation to the cemetery because he wanted to be buried there, and it was solely New Orleans residents only. And his tomb, which looks like a pyramid, is not marked. It doesn't say Nic Cage anywhere, but it's going to be his plot when he dies.
Sounds like he's involved with the Illuminati.
Something like that. I mean, Nicolas Cage is a weird guy.
Yes.
Anyway, I mean,
well, he
pyramids?
owned the murder house there for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, he owned the house.
Did they mention that on the tour? That was probably the best ghost tour we've ever been on. To be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. He owned that for a little bit. Like
did not
it's been
know
through a
that.
bunch of different owners, but he was one of them.
Sweet. Yeah, I had no clue that he owned that, which I'm not surprised by. I had heard at one point when I was living in Newport that he actually like owned a house in Newport too. And
I mean, a lot of people own a house in Newport.
Right.
Even for a minute, like just to own a house in Newport.
Yeah, I think the Cage one I had heard was like on Ocean Drive, which I wouldn't be
that
surprised
would make
at.
sense. Yeah,
But,
with Tiger Woods.
yeah, exactly. So Willy's Wonderland. I mean, I'd wait for it to come on one of the movie channels. I wouldn't pay money to rent it like I did. But I rented, which we have for a month, but we have obviously not yet watched. Finally, because the price dropped, was The Little Things with Denzel and Jared Leto and Rami Malek.
Yeah, we
movie
should watch
that was
that
on
soon.
HBO.
That'd be cool.
So I'm kind of excited to watch that because I feel like I've been trying to watch it for like months now, and it finally like
Jared
dropped
who?
in price. Leto.
Yeah, you said Leto.
Leto. I always
Leto!
always correct me.
Leto!
I know. So guys, anything else? I mean, I don't actually have a whole
You
lot
don't
of
have
news.
a lot of news?
No.
Oh, that's so exciting.
No, I saw one thing today, right before we went on, when I was cruising through the Bloody Disgusting app, and they had basically, FX said that the 2 new American Horror Story series that are coming out this year, the one that's called American Horror Stories, plural, which is going to be an anthology series. It's going to be straight to Hulu starting in the summer, in July.
Who?
Hulu. Hulu.
Who knew?
Who knew? Hulu.
W.B. Mason knew.
Yeah, but then the only other thing that they had in there was that the newest season of American Horror Story, the one that they filmed in Provincetown, is going to debut in the fall. So right around Halloween time.
Exciting.
They have 2 seasons coming out in 1 year.
Well, they're starting this new series, American Horror Stories.
Oh, so it's two different.
And each episode's an anthology
Spin-off.
and I guess that is exclusively on Hulu. Who knew? Who?
Who knew?
WB
Yeah.
Mason.
But that's kind of the only other piece of news that I saw that like piqued my interest.
Cool.
So we can just move right on to the movie. You guys ready to do that?
Yes.
It's fresh in our minds. It's a new movie. Hey guys, before we get into the movie and everything, can you talk to me about what it was like to go back to the movie theater for the first time in well over a year?
I thought it was awesome.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
It was very creepy. Yeah.
Going to the
definitely
bathroom, nobody in there.
It was so weird.
Heard my
It was
keys jangling.
So weird.
I got the himmy-jimmies up my neck when I went to the bathroom because we're watching this weird movie.
Well, there's
anyway.
no
but
one
there was
there.
there was literally nobody there. Even people that worked there weren't working because they weren't
There was
there.
one person I saw that worked there the entire time.
We could've
The guy
just-
that gave you the popcorn and
He's
the
the
drink.
same guy.
Yeah.
That was it. I think that was the only one I saw.
I feel like this is a serial killer movie.
It's like an
he
episode of
killed
Are You-
everybody. Yeah, it's like an Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Dark,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode
Right,
that takes
I
place
know.
in the movie theater.
I
yeah.
know.
And I felt like it was just as Vanquish
Weird.
or whatever.
Which made it even
So weird.
spookier.
Yeah.
Vanquish.
But it was
Yeah.
nice. Like, I told my coworkers, I was like, we're podcasting and we went and saw a movie. They're like, you went to the movies? I was like, yeah, we went
So
last
there
week.
was two people in the movie we saw.
Yeah,
other than
besides
us.
us.
I know. Which actually made it pretty nice that it was just...
Yeah, it was cool.
They were probably pissed. I bet
Yeah.
she was like, I was going to give you the meanest hand job. And then he was like,
No.
there's people right there. Can we sit further back?
popcorn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could still go and
I
get
feel like
food.
all of a sudden, like, we walked up to the snack stand and, like, all of a sudden that kid just, like, popped up from behind the counter, like, hello,
Yeah.
yes, I'm the
What
ghost of
can
the
I
movie
get
theater. What
you,
can I get
sir?
for you?
Like-
Yeah. And I won't say what movie theater we went to, but hint, it's
was a
close
great
by
movie
if you live in Plymouth.
It's a local movie theater.
But yeah, and I will say, they also... I bought all three of our tickets, and they didn't even check.
Unnecessary.
Could have walked in there without even buying tickets.
But you want to support them because,
Of
I mean,
course.
obviously...
That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. I would never just try and sneak in, for Christ's sake. I'm 34 years
No.
old.
Give them their money. They're
not gonna sneak
give
into
them
a
their
movie.
$12 that they needed to
Yeah.
stay open so that we can go there again. I would say that the only thing...
I'd go again.
I feel like a movie theater is the only place where it's socially acceptable to give a hand job.
Okay.
Like,
enough
other
of the
than
hand
maybe
jobs.
like a funeral,
All right.
like you want it, it's got to be secretive, dark. Like,
I really wish that we went to go see Godzilla vs. Kong there because I feel like it would have been like.
but
a
it just
better-
that just came out there.
I
We
know.
would have had to wait a month
I know. We would have had to
Yeah.
wait, but
to see that movie.
But
So I'm glad I
it
didn't
would've-
wait a month.
And it was
to see
already
that.
paid for in
I
HBO
know.
Max. But I feel like I know what you're saying, though. That is the perfect type of
Mortal
movie to
Kombat
see.
would have been pretty.
Mortal Kombat
Mortal
would've been
Kombat
awesome,
would have been dope.
too.
That would have been awesome.
I mean, there's still time
I feel like most movies would be
right.
better at the theater with a big bag of popcorn
and a big Mountain Dew,
well, hey, the
some Laffy Taffy.
and an HJ.
the good
Oh my
news
God.
is that very shortly we'll be able to go back and see A Quiet Place Part 2.
I'm so excited.
And then
to see
after that, we get to see Candyman.
Candyman.
Yes.
I can't wait for Candyman. It's
I
going to be
know.
awesome.
Movies
But-
are bad. Movies are
Yeah,
bad.
I just feel like a lot of people don't know.
I think that it's great too that movies are back and nobody's going to the movies.
I know
Because there's
I
nothing
feel like
better than an
a lot-
empty movie
Well,
theater.
that's what I was just going to say. Is that I feel like a lot of people don't know that the movies are back open right now. I mean, I feel like it's
They're open.
Well, now
Go.
now
And if you
everything's
don't
opening.
know-
Everything's opening back up now, which
Now
is
you
great.
know.
But yeah, so I mean, I would recommend. Hey, if you want to go see this movie, which you can only see in theaters, I would recommend going to see it. And that movie, which we have not talked about for long enough, is Spiral from the Book of Saw.
We've talked about this movie for so long. How many times did we say that we watched the trailer? Like
Well,
10
this was
times?
one of those movies that we were kind of
we did.
following
It's
closely.
been a
I
year.
know.
We talked about it in the news a few separate times when there were updates on it. Obviously, it got delayed because of the pandemic and all that bullshit. But yeah, first movie that we had seen in theaters since we saw Underwater, which was another good horror movie that we saw last year. And actually, Wareham movie theaters, very nice,
Yes.
very nice, very comfy.
I'd like to go back there.
I would too.
We got a nice little wine bar there.
They got a nice little everything there. It's very comfy, very
It's
nice.
just little tiny bottles of Sutter Homes,
But you might only be able to like get two show times for a movie. The entire
they have
day.
delicious soft pretzels.
Oh, I'm a soft pretzel guy, so that's awesome. Guys, talk to me about Spiral from the Book of Saw. Andrew, you want to start out? Catherine?
Overall thoughts?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of the movie?
I thought it was awesome. I love the Saw series, and I'm excited that they're gonna. It seems like after watching this one that they're gonna continue on with a new spin-off Saw series.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm assuming if you're listening to this show now that you have probably already seen the movie or you're interested in seeing it, and obviously if you haven't yet, Go watch it, then come back, pause it, and come back and listen to us. Go ahead. Sorry.
Spoiler alert, but it ends with an open ending, and it makes you think there's going to be a sequel to this.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
I feel like every Saw movie that's made is intended for multiple sequels.
Right.
Which is kind of, I feel like, almost takes away from it as a franchise. But I did like this movie.
Now you just wonder how many more. Like, I hope they just do, 3 and keep it like a trilogy or something, and then call it a day, and then maybe they do a different thing. I don't know. I mean, because it gets to be too, it was too many. I mean, I've seen probably, 5 of the Saw movies, and then maybe I saw a few. I mean, but I only started, collecting the DVDs, 1 through 3, and then I was like, I'm not buying all of these DVDs. There's way too many. And now I can barely, we have a Xbox to play DVDs, but so many people I know now don't have a DVD player, like Andrew.
I know. I feel like it's uncommon now.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I don't have a fucking DVD player.
Right, that's
why
what
are you
I mean.
yelling at me?
Why would I, I liked them so much I wanted to watch them all the time when they came out, but now I'm like, I'm not going to buy something because I can stream it, or I can... but, I mean, why would I keep a DVD player? Because I want to play my old DVDs?
Well, you can't stream every Saw movie that's ever been made.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Nor would you want to, because... I'm sure 90% of them are garbage, but
they're not garbage. There's good scenes in all of them.
Scenes. You can watch YouTube scenes.
True.
Yes,
you can do that. You can do that. So you were talking about potentially this being set up for sequels, and I agree with that. And I will be interested in sequels if one particular actor and character in the movie returns for them, because he was clearly the best part of the movie, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But that part is Chris Rock.
Correct.
Chris Rock was phenomenal in this movie, right?
He was very good.
Oh, he was very good.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was far and away the best part of the movie.
I'm surprised how fucking old he looks now.
Yeah.
I feel like he was always squinting.
Squinting?
Yeah, he was literally, I don't know if that was part of his, I'm in a horror movie role, but I felt like he was always, or had, bloodshot eyes, and they were just, squinty looking. He was always just squinting.
I think he was just tired.
That might have been...
I think that was part of his character, though. I don't think it was
necessarily... That's what I'm saying. That was part of... So that was him, that was Chris Rock, and that was how he decided to play the character. So yes, that was him.
All right. That was part of his dramatic...
He doesn't have to be squinting the whole time.
Right.
That's on him. That was a pet peeve. Didn't like it. That part.
Well, I thought he was the best part of the movie. He was the best character in the movie. He was hilarious, and... Also, how awesome is it to see Chris Rock in a Saw movie?
The dialogue was fantastic. The comedic dialogue was awesome.
His jokes were amazing. A lot.
Yeah, I really laughed a lot, especially at the beginning when it shows him undercover.
Yeah,
and he's walking around talking to people about getting divorced and shit. And I was it felt like you were watching a Chris Rock stand-up routine.
It was awesome.
Where he's portraying he's undercover as a gangster or whatever, and he's just fucking walking around with these people. And then at the end, he gets caught with.
It almost was
awesome.
It almost felt like a comedic version of Training Day. With Denzel and Ethan Hawke.
That's a very good way to put it. I think that's a very good way to put this movie. But probably a little bit more violent, I would say. Quite a bit more.
Training Day is pretty violent.
Not as brutal
but
as
it's
this,
not as brutal as this.
No. Not as gruesome.
It's a different type of movie to begin with.
And I feel like... So I actually kind of wrote this down, but I feel like, because of the people being targeted in this movie, I feel like it feels almost like the stakes are a little bit higher because they're actually police officers that are getting targeted versus most of the people they portray in the prior Saw movies are, according to Jigsaw, bad people or morally corrupt people in some way, shape, or form, right?
Technically bad people.
They very much were, which we'll get to. But it was just different because you were always kind of most of those people in those movies you kind of looked at and they were kind of portrayed as scumbags. Most of the characters, with one or two redeemable characters per movie or something like that. So
Terry Ewells wasn't a scumbag. He was just a doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Gordon. Well, yeah, Dr. Gordon, he cheated on his wife, and what else happened?
Well, he let his son die.
That
too. Not that
it
was his fault.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, what did Jigsaw see that, and basically he
I feel like that
failed
was
him
why.
as a doctor.
Yeah.
He failed him as a doctor.
Right. And he dug up all that dirt on him.
Failed as his husband. He had a lot of problems.
Yeah. Which I'm sure we'll get
to. Scumbag.
I mean, each person had their own flaw, which is why they were part of his puzzle, pretty much. I mean,
We're talking about some psychopath who
likes
to
kill
kill
and that's
people.
why he's a psychopath. Because he's these people are bad, they need to
Did
die.
they deserve to die?
And I'm going to kill them more so than, they deserve to die. Then he takes it to the next step.
Just because someo's a drug addict doesn't mean they deserve to die, which was one of the characters that they portray.
Right.
Yes.
That wouldn't fly nowadays.
She ends up being his disciple.
Yeah,
So-
Amanda doesn't.
Yeah, but
That-
she initially was there because wasn't she over the bed of needles?
Right,
She
but
had a fucking,
everyone. So
fish her way
no,
out or
but
whatever?
Yeah, that was
no,
gross.
that was in the second one. The first one, she had the mouth trap.
Yeah, the
She was
very first
Yeah, but
trap.
in the second one though,
the reverse bear
Right,
trap.
because she's helping him at that point. Because she was the person that escaped. Because he always he gives you a way out.
so
Like
wait,
you
how
could-
is so she wasn't dropped into a bunch of needles?
she was in the second
So
Saw, not
okay,
the first.
I get
one.
that, but so I still don't understand how he's not punishing her. You're
Well,
saying,
because
oh well, he's
she-
helping her.
well-
how is she helping? How is
So,
he helping her?
First off, she got pushed in by one of the other guys. It was part
Right,
of the
it
game.
wasn't her
Right.
trap.
It wasn't.
but
it-
she was there.
She wasn't anticipating
put
that
on
to
scene.
happen. She was a mole.
Seems
pretty
like he
much.
didn't really care what happened to her.
Well, of course not, because she's volunteering to serve him now.
Right.
After the fact that she lived through one of his games.
Yeah.
So the fact that I forget what
guess.
it was
That's
it was
true.
the bear trap in her
The
mouth.
reverse
that she
bear
had to
trap,
do-
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she had the
So-
she had the scar, she had almost like the Joker scars.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah.
Right. And then after that she just became a complete loon, but she was worshiping the ground that he walked on, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Of course.
But why
And
was
then
she in the bear
became-
trap initially?
Because probably because she was a drug addict,
Okay,
and I don't
that's-
know
okay,
what
so
else.
I would-
if
again,
that,
yeah.
if there was more, I don't remember her whole backstory, but yes.
Okay.
In short, so
Very mousy looking person. I was
Yes,
kind of hoping
well-
the bear trap ripped her face off, but it didn't.
yeah. Well,
Just a side
sorry?
note. Just a side note.
That's fine. Hey, back to Spiral. Though.
Yes,
So
I know.
I think I was kind of surprised how much I actually like this movie, and I say that I knew going in it was going to be interesting because of Chris Rock. That's a different element to a horror movie. Samuel L. Jackson's in it too, obviously, and I was still kind of surprised. But obviously the reason that I was kind of skeptical was Chris Rock, but I feel like it's the reason that most people would be skeptical of seeing this because Chris Rock's in a horror movie. How good could it actually be?
well, because he's never really done
Right,
much.
he's never done it before, which we'll talk more about how he actually got into producing and writing this movie, co-writing this movie. But we've actually seen a lot of comedic actors recently working on horror movies to varying degrees of success. But Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down, he wrote the new Halloween movie that came out a few years ago, and he also starred in Alien Covenant, which is an underrated movie.
Very good
Jordan
movie.
Peele, obviously, Get Out, Us, the new Candyman remake that we already talked about. Jordan. So there's a history of comedic actors turning to horror and having success there. So I don't know
pretty
why I was
interesting.
surprised that I actually
Well, it's
loved
what
it.
was that? Who said that? That it was if you can make someone laugh or you can make someone scared, it's the same.
Kind of the same type of
kind of
thing.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's kind of you could even go into depression and stuff with comedians who go into depression because everyone sees them at their high highs and not their low lows necessarily. So
Some of them,
you
yeah.
can see the dark side of comedy. There's a balance between the two.
Sure, of course.
It's like the dark side of Disney.
Kind of dark side of Oz.
Hashtag listen to our Dark Side of Disney episode.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought Chris Rock was hilarious in this movie, as always. But I thought he was actually, Andrew, I know you said you didn't like him squinting, but I thought he was pretty good at selling his character, and I thought most of the cast was pretty good.
I agree.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a Saw movie. Again, give people some leeway a little bit.
Right.
Some of the characters were worse than others, but most of them were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
One thing that I couldn't help but notice, and Andrew, I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on this because I know you're as big of a fan of this movie as I am. But it's been kind of, I guess, written about after the fact that this version of Saw draws much more inspiration from a movie like Seven, much like the first Saw movie did. And I actually noticed these patterns. I think thinking back about this movie, did you get that at all when you were watching it?
Now that you say it, it makes
Oh, absolutely.
a lot
Yeah.
of sense. It is very. I mean, there's no comparing.
There is no comparing.
Seven is 10 times better than this movie. So let's
Oh,
not
yeah.
Wait,
pretend
not-
like that's
not
what we're
this
talking about.
movie.
No. 7 is 10 times better than this movie.
Right, but if you were to compare it to Saw 1,
Seven is
First
seven
Five
Saw.
times better.
7 is way better than Saw 1.
Saw 1 was great
7
for
is
the sheer fact
the best.
that it had. I mean, Saw 1. I'm not even going to talk about 7 with this movie because it's not a fair game. It's like a blowout. It's clearly 7. But Saw 1, what made that movie so good was the ending of that movie was phenomenal. This movie,
You never saw that coming.
The ending of this movie, I didn't see it coming.
You
but it
anticipated
wasn't.
it was gonna be
No, I
something.
didn't see it coming. But it wasn't that great of a. Oh, okay. Once I saw it, I was like, okay, you could do
Yeah.
that. I would have preferred something different. Like, the ones that would have been more obvious probably would have been better, I think. Like, for instance, spoiler alert, when he has the saw in his hand, then he just finds the fucking key or gets the clothespin and gets... No,
Yeah,
I want to see him cut his arm off again. Do it again. Fuck it.
See, I think they wanted to do something different. Clearly, they wanted to do something different here, which is what. But they wanted to give little nods to the fans of the Saw franchise.
Of course,
right?
because when you see him...
Still could have done it different. And
Yeah.
still could have had him cut his arm off.
Yeah.
They always give you a way out.
Or his leg off, whatever it was.
Well,
They always
leg,
give you a
no.
way out. He knew the situation that he was in. He knew the case. And he thought to himself, this isn't going to cut my handcuffs.
I
It's
get
going to
that,
cut
but
my
for
arm. But then knew there was going to be a way out. So he looked around the room. He saw the hairpin. It all goes with the game. It all goes with the
I
game.
get that, but for some reason, like, it had those gory moments, it had those scenes, it had that, but it never really felt like it was like a, it was just kind of, it just was happening. I never had that moment where I was like, oh shit, or, oh my god. It was just kind of like,
I thought a couple
had a
of
couple
the
of
traps
those
were
shit
particularly
no, the
gross.
traps were gross, but I never really had that, oh fuck moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of with him there. That's since I saw it, I've kind of thought about the twist
It was
at the
just
end a little
kinda
bit. And it was
bland.
like,
You kind of saw it coming.
like, eh.
It wasn't a surprise.
Well, I kind of, my ears kind of perked up a little bit when they said that he was found at that meat packing plant, skinned and hung from like meat hooks, but you didn't actually see.
I said that.
Well, yeah, I was thinking the same
Okay.
thing. I was with you there, but just
All the other bodies you see, but you don't see his
so
body.
but it wasn't like a gut punch like.
I don't know if
twist.
it just lacked like a certain cinematic level where it involved the music and like the scenery and like did something with that. Maybe that's all it was. Like it was just missing that certain element.
But
it just felt like it all just kind of blended together. It never really. There was ups and downs, but they didn't really feel like I never. Yeah, it just I don't know. Weird.
Well, so that's a perfect way to tie it back into what I was saying about 7 before with this, right? So obviously, like clearly not as good as 7, as we already said, right? But 7's one of my all-time favorites. But they do have some similarities, okay? And one of the things you just kind of talked about was the feeling like didn't it feel like the entire movie everything was just like in downtown of a city. Exactly like 7. The only difference is that it's raining every second of every day in 7 the entire time. But 7 feels like so claustrophobic. And I feel like this movie kind of felt like the same way.
7 has it builds tension much better than this movie.
Oh,
that's the only problem.
Again,
that's the
apples
only,
and oranges, but I'm pointing out
but see,
similarities.
that's what I'm saying, though. No, it is similar. But that's literally all it's really lacking is that tension. It never truly builds any tension.
I guess it depends on how much you're invested in Chris Rock's character, Zeke Banks. I guess it depends.
The only tension, like the time that I felt like there was like a crunch, like a time crunch, which kind of gives away my favorite scene, is when Chris Rock realizes that the clue that he read, he went to the wrong place, and it was actually the captain that was...
Right.
And that's the only time that you're like, oh my god, is he going to make it? She's like...
Probably
but
the
I think
closest
also, maybe to your point, that they're shooting this in a sense that like... You don't know what time it is exactly, because it's not happening in real time. Like, they're very vague with their flash forwards and flash backs, and you're not really sure if this is happening at the exact same time or if it's happening like an hour before.
So the way they do it in this movie, which again draws me back to my 7 comparison. So 7, right, is very much like famous for not actually showing the murders take place, which are disturbing and disgusting, and I'm happy they don't, but showing the grisly aftermath.
Right.
And I feel like this movie flirts with that for a split second. Like you see some of these police officers fall into these traps, and then it cuts away for a second and goes back to Chris Rock's character.
That's a good point.
And you're like, okay, am I not going to see this person die? Oh, and then they show the person die a horrible
when
death.
they find them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Perhaps it's that simple, though, because when you're watching 7, you don't really know who's going to die. When you're watching this, you have that background of Saw movies where you know if someone's in that trap, they're going to die. That person's dead. So there's really no, there's no tension in that. Is this person going to live? Are they going to make it out?
Right.
What's going to happen? You're like, they're going to die. I just don't know how they're going to die.
You're absolutely
That's
right.
all it is. That's the only difference between the two movies in reality.
Right.
So maybe I'm being a little too hard on the movie because it had to deal with the fact that everybody already knows that these people are going to die.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you there. I feel like when you know going into a movie where you know there are tons of people that are going to die, Like, okay, so one of them dies. Like, it's like, okay, great.
And once they set that precedence and the first person dies...
All right, which one of the main characters is going to die at the end?
Maybe they should have changed the way they did. Maybe it shouldn't just all be like flashbacks or whatever it is, like maybe actually have one happen like on point, like at the same time, and you see the whole thing.
So can I reference one of Chris Rock's songs?
Sure.
Yeah, the Champagne Room song. Mm-hmm. No Sex in the Champagne Room. When he's like...
The Chris Rock classic.
Gemini, you're going to die twice. Like,
yeah. You love that song more than anybody that I know.
You're gonna die
twice. And remember, there's no sex in the champagne room. None.
I love that song. It's so great.
I've heard it a million times because of you.
I know.
Oh my God. All right, let me just finish my thought on 7 here, right? So, another similarity to 7, this is much more of a police procedural than a Saw movie, I feel like, which is a refreshing direction for the series to take. And it depicts the two main characters. So in this movie, Spiral, it's Zeke Banks and his dad, Chris Rock, and Samuel L. Jackson. In 7, it's Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, Somerset and Mills. And they're both, all of them are flawed individuals and flawed police officers. You see it with both of them. So I feel like that's another similarity. And we already talked about, the cutting away before the gore and all that stuff. But just kidding, we're going to show it anyway. But I feel like that's where the similarities stop because they show everything here, which leads me to my next point. The traps and kills in this movie were pretty intense.
Yes.
But,
as they should be.
As they should be. But there's fewer of them. You know, they say ostrich is better for you, but you eat more of it.
Wait, time out. What do you mean there's fewer of them?
I feel like there's fewer traps and... You didn't get that Seinfeld reference? You're not going to give me any Costanza credit on that?
I wasn't sure if it was.
Of course it was.
I don't know what.
When George is eating the ostrich burger?
I don't remember that. When is he doing that?
You've never seen that scene? He's sitting at the coffee shop with Jerry, and he's eating an ostrich burger, and Jerry asks him about it. He says, yeah, he says, it's ostrich. It's better for you. You know, they say it's better for you, but you eat more of it.
I don't remember that scene.
I can't believe you don't know that.
I should know that.
Oh, hashtag Seinfeld. Oh,
wow.
my God. Okay.
I feel...
So were you serious about that, or no? That was a quote.
No, I'm saying I think there are fewer traps and kills in this movie than there are in most of the other Saw movies.
I don't know, is it 4 or 5 in most of them?
I mean...
This one had like 4, maybe 5, and the other ones I feel like have like 7 or 8.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen like the first 2.
Dude,
so
I feel like... And they were more spaced out in this movie. Maybe that's what it was, but I thought so. I felt like less.
See a number to validate that, because I feel like there's some...
Look it up.
There are some of the Saw movies that not...
What about the first one? How many people died in the first one? I feel like it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I feel like...
Right? No? I don't know.
I'll have to go through them.
Well,
but,
I guarantee you the sequels...
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Saw 1 is the best quality Saw movie, but the sequels pretty much just tried to gross you out and try and kill as many people as they could to make money in October around Halloween.
I'd say they had at least
some of these Saw movies have to have more than 4 or 5 kills.
They had at least 5 people that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, that was my opinion watching it.
Fair.
That
You're
was my
entitled
opinion.
to
It just felt like they were more spaced out and there were fewer of them. And, you know, we kind of already talked about this, but, you know, I feel like I mentioned because they portray it like things should feel like higher stakes because the victims here are police officers. And it's obvious, it's hard to ignore, you know, the type of commentary the movie is trying to make about, you know, bad police officers and that type of thing, which, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention it. Obviously, it's a controversial topic, but, you know, you watch this movie and there's no doubt about what message they're trying to send. You know, that's what I can say.
Yes.
So... Guys, I've seen 2. I guess it depends on what you qualify as horror here, right? So I've seen 2 2021 horror movies so far that were released this year. Willy's Wonderland, which I just talked about. And we all saw...
Say that 3 times fast.
Willy's Wonderland.
Wow, good job, Michael.
And we all saw Godzilla vs. Kong. So I would ask you... I guess Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, because we covered that, so...
So where would you rank this movie amongst Mortal Kombat, Godzilla v. Kong? Catherine? Andrew?
Out of 3, so out of 3.
What'd you like the best?
I like this the best because I was
second. I would put Mortal Kombat first, Kong third, because Kong will be last as long as movies come out.
So you're saying Kong permanently is camping out at the bottom of your 2021 movie range?
It'll take a really bad movie for that movie to move up.
Oh, that's not fair. I liked it.
Can't believe how
Stupid.
irrationally mad you are at a giant monkey fighting a giant lizard movie.
This just wasn't good. It was boring.
Oh,
God.
boo.
Catherine, what about you? What do you think of this?
I'd say
I guess amongst the other two that we
my
talked
number
about.
1, Mortal Kombat, would be number 2, and then Godzilla vs. Kong would be number 3.
So you agree?
Okay, it's only 3 movies this year so far, Andrew. Like, I mean, there's still plenty of 2021 to go.
I have a feeling Mike's going to put Kong number 3, too.
Oh my gosh, you're going to ask me
I
that?
am, and I basically it's this movie, Mortal Kombat Kong. But I don't think that Kong is a distant like whatever the bottom of my list like you do. I know.
We should really do at the end of the year a countdown for all the 2021 movies and see if Godzilla vs. Kong is still on the bottom of your list.
We should absolutely do that.
It will be out of spite. I don't even care if
no, we're going to do countdowns of certain things for the year because we can't do an anniversary episode
Maybe there
every
could be
year.
another.
So.
If you don't think
maybe
that's going to be at
Midsommar 2 comes out.
Nope, still be Kong. I've already stated it. It's happening out of spite, Jerry.
Fair enough. Spite? Can't return it because of spite. What do you mean? All right, let's get into some facts real quick here before we get into our categories and wrap this up here. All right, so for facts, obviously this is the first spin-off movie in the Saw film series, right? It's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. This is actually the fourth film of the Saw series that he's worked on, including Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, and now Spiral from the Book of Saw. This movie was written by Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger, and obviously stars Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, Max Minghella, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Marisol Nichols. Those are pretty much the main characters in the movie. Otis, thank you for your contributions. But the original creators of the series, James Wan and Lee Whannell, who have gone on to direct multiple awesome horror movies, both were on as executive producers alongside
With
Chris Rock for this movie, which is pretty awesome. So it's good to see this movie getting that original creative force behind it, right? Because, I mean, James Wan has gone on to do all the Conjuring movies, Insidious. Lee Whannell did The Invisible Man. He did Saw, I think he wrote Saw, and he starred in Saw, but he's done a bunch of good stuff too. So it was good to see that this movie kind of had that same firepower behind it, I guess. Pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew. Nice.
Yeah. So basically, after the last Saw movie before this, talks of continuing the franchise kind of began. The next year after that.
So the one before this was Jigsaw, right?
Jigsaw, yes, it was Jigsaw,
Did we
which was
see that?
I have not seen that.
I was like, we never saw
Nope,
that.
I have not. I kind of tuned out after the third or fourth Saw sequel. I mean, too many. But so it turns out Chris Rock was at a wedding in Brazil with the executive vice president of Lionsgate Studios. Okay, and they had a chance encounter at this wedding. I'm sure we're probably drinking, shooting the shit, hanging out. Chris Rock got talking about the idea of pitching a horror movie to Lionsgate, and that's how the conversation started. They loved the idea, brought him on as the executive producer, one of them, and also having him co-write the movie, which is pretty cool. Good idea by them. But obviously, we talked about this in prior episodes in the news. This movie was originally supposed to be out back in 2020. I wish we could have seen this movie a year ago, for Christ's sake. But it was delayed due to fucking COVID and was pushed back to May 14th of 2021, which was actually the day after we saw it, because we saw it on a Thursday night preview.
Oh, yeah?
On the 13th.
Yeah.
That's correct. Hey, so you want to hear something interesting that I found?
Sure.
So there was actually an early draft of this script where Chris Rock's character was actually Danny Glover's son from the first Saw movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But also, obviously, it didn't end up happening.
Danny Glover, phenomenal actor.
Great actor.
I love Danny
Yeah.
Glover.
Angels
great.
in the Outfield?
That's kind of why I like the first Saw one a lot. Actually,
Because of him.
Glover and Carrie Yules.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, you love Carrie Yules. That is true. And then, hey, so we talked about the kills a little bit here. Pretty brutal. Some pretty gross stuff in there.
Yes.
Apparently they had to cut some shit to get it down from
Really?
NC-17.
That's like every movie, though. I feel like they just go, here we go, and then they go, oh, God.
Well, apparently the director, Darren Lynn Bousman, again is his name, went on a podcast last week and said there was a scene where one of the characters gets their face cut off, essentially. And the MPAA apparently said, not
No.
this time.
Maybe instead of where they cut off Charlie, they cut off the guy's face. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Something like that. Yeah,
Maybe
it
a
might have
little
been
more gruesome.
like the skinning scene, essentially, something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Where he's hanging from the meat hooks, maybe that. I don't know. But final fact I have, you guys, and obviously this is a big fact for the Saw franchise. This is the first movie in the entire Saw franchise that does not feature Tobin Bell as John Kramer / Jigsaw.
Yeah. But you do see a picture of him.
You get a picture of him.
Yep.
So that's another little nod to fans. And obviously, Andrew, you talked about Chris Rock obviously being chained to the pipe with the saw. Ultimately, he gets out of it. I feel like they didn't want to recreate that kill. That was just one they were trying to give a nod to the fans.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're on to categories, but before we do so, just a reminder that tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by Bruche. Bruche, in case you haven't heard, is an electric toothbrush that will change the way you think about brushing your teeth. With powerful sonic technology and ultra-gentle bristles, the Bruche redefines what it means to have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling when you just leave the dentist. A fresh, whole mouth clean every single day. That would be the listeners of America's Hometown Horror get 15% off their total purchase when they use code POD15. That's POD15. Follow the link in our show notes and enter the code POD15 to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine. All right, so that means we're on to our categories. And obviously the first one is whether or not we found this movie to be particularly scary. Catherine, you always have interesting thoughts on this, so I will defer to you first.
My answer is yes.
I knew it. I knew it!
Obviously, all the Saw movies I feel like were scary. I mean, yeah, definitely. I definitely jumped several times because that person that comes behind everyone in a pig mask, like, just goes, boo! And so, like, absolutely, it's scary.
Nothing more than jump scares, though.
Jump scares, they get me every time.
Yeah, I know. I feel like this movie was... All the Saw movies are engineered for that. Because it's jump scares and then trying to gross you out with gore. But, okay. I did agree that this had some... I jumped like
Did
once,
you?
maybe.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But I didn't think it was a scary movie. You know, I mean, unless you can envision yourself in one of those traps, I guess in that sense, it's a very scary movie if you get anxiety over those sorts of things, which I feel like most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the worst life scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, what about you? Scary? Yay? Nay?
Well, seeing as I'm not a corrupt cop, it didn't scare me. So
fair enough. Yep, they were definitely a target in this movie. That is faux show. Catherine, your favorite scene in Spiral from the Book of Saw.
So I was just going to say, it's the scene I mentioned earlier where, like, Chris Rock, like, realizes that he missed the clue and that he missed the chance to save the captain.
This was definitely good, yeah.
That was probably, because that was the most, like, intense scene, because you were wondering if he would make it there in time, and, like, oh my god, when he's peeling her face off.
Yeah, that was gross.
Oh my god, it was so gross. And you were like... Did he make it? And you don't know until he goes to peel her face off, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was good because still the hot wax on her skin, and it just was like peeling off like Play-Doh. That was so gruesome.
That was disgusting. That was gross.
That
was a very good
that
scene.
would have maybe been my favorite death. So tough.
That's not my favorite death, though.
Oh, so we're just doing favorite scene?
No, this is favorite scene.
What'd you have, Andrew? What was yours?
Oh, now I don't know. My favorite scene, my favorite death are probably the same, so I don't want to give away.
Well,
okay,
then,
we can wait. We can wait.
We can just put a pin in that.
Okay, so maybe so I'll give you my favorite scene. My favorite scene is at the very end when Chris Rock is trying to save his dad, Samuel L. Jackson, and the SWAT team or whatever breaks in, and when they open the gate up,
it
lifts up
tripwire.
It lifts up Samuel L. Jackson's arm like he's a fucking puppet. With a gun?
Yeah.
Kind of was...
That was pretty cool. That was... I mean, it was pretty
ironic. It was a nice trap. Yeah. It kind of was a nice, interesting commentary. I just thought it was a very just well-done scene in that it brought back when the little puppet pig lifts up the gun.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a... It was nice little...
I had never noticed that until you told me that, so that was...
Oh, you didn't realize that it was the same thing?
I didn't realize it was the same thing, no. I forgot about that. Good.
That was an interesting scene.
Good choice.
That was cool.
Good choice. I'm going to go shallow here, and just because it was the hardest I laughed the entire movie. The whole opening scene with Chris Rock undercover talking to all those people.
That was a great
That was
scene.
so unbelievable. I was like, oh my god. This is the most awesome start to a Saw movie, aside from the opening kill, as possible. So I love that. He's just so fucking good in this movie. I loved him. I'm so surprised. Because I feel like Chris Rock isn't in too many movies anymore.
I feel like you weren't anticipating him to be as good as he was. And
I feel like he isn't in that many movies in general.
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he does like the grown-up movies with like Adam Sandler, but like, what else has he done besides that recently? You think of
Those
anything?
are great movies. I like them.
You mean the Adam Sandler takes his friends on vacation movies?
I love that. That's awesome.
They're movies.
They are movies by definition.
Are movies.
Yeah.
Great. It's almost like saying it's almost like saying that this movie was a tearjerker or heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching.
It depends on. I mean, when you think Phantasm is such a great movie, I mean, it's on your
I know what that. I don't.
What
I never said that movie was heart-wrenching or tear-jerking. I accepted that movie for what it was.
All right.
Just like this garbage movie.
Play nice, children. Play nice.
You and your Saw movies.
Can I give you one? Can I give you one comment on the cast, which
Yep.
is our next category, and I think you know what it's going to be.
Go ahead.
And can I say how excited I am for the Letterkenny and Saw shared universe, because the first cop that gets killed in the opening scene is fucking McMurray from Letterkenny.
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted
awesome.
this out from our show account, but like I was trying to avoid spoilers and stuff for it, and the Saw movie account tweeted out that first scene with him, right? So it was like 2.5 minutes long. I was like, fuck it, I'll cave, I'll watch it. And then I saw him in it, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so fucking great.
I'm so happy because
McMurray, hurry now!
I didn't even notice that.
We stopped
Why
you from
ain't hurry
telling
now?
us that because you were going to spoil it for us, even though
I
you
know.
read it.
I
And
know,
we
I know,
don't
I know.
tell
I
me.
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was McMurray.
That's when he started. He's like,
I know what he
saw
was.
this
I remember
trailer.
him
was
talking about. He's like,
no.
you guys won't even know who it is. And
Why
I
are you
didn't
not
remember.
getting you?
I absolutely knew who he was the minute that I saw him.
Well, he had the hat on. The hat on, I was like, is that fucking McMurray? And then I was like, yeah, it is.
I mean, I was
Yes.
pretty.
He barely, obviously, he doesn't talk like McMurray because that's one of the weirdest voices of all time.
Right.
But, like, it's just, it was just funny to see.
I was also balls deep in a bag of popcorn.
Yeah,
You were.
dude, that popcorn was so good. Oh my god, it was great. All right, so anything else? Anybody on the cast bother you? You have anything? Any comments? Anything you want to say? Kat? Yeah.
So the guy who plays Jigsaw's copycat, the other Chris,
The guy from the
Chris
Social
Rock's
Network.
Not a huge
partner.
fan of him
Yeah,
either.
the guy from Social Network. Chris Minghella is his
I
name.
didn't
Kind of
put it
Minghella,
together, but okay.
Minghella. I
Kind
don't know
of
how
a
you
bone
pronounce it.
guy. Not a big fan.
He plays. He's the Winklevi's sidekick in Social Network.
Okay.
Yeah,
So actually, my
And he has never aged.
I know he looks the same. He really does.
one of my
What
friends.
are you, a vampire?
One of my friends said to me, I said I was at the movies. I like Snapchatted it or something, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, is that the movie with the hot guy?" And I was like, "What hot guy?" I was like,
he's
"What
kinda-
are you talking
he's-
about?"
he's
And
pretty
she
hot.
was talking about him, and I was like, "Oh, I mean, I could see it, but I don't think I find him very attractive.
I guess he's handsome.
If
Yeah,
anything,
sure.
I'd fuck him.
the part that annoys me the most with him is that he wasn't as intense as the other characters. He was like, and I guess that's kind of the role he was playing as like
It's by
the
design,
dad
yeah.
that was.
You know who I would have changed him out
whatever,
with? Zac Efron. I feel like
Efron,
Zac
huh?
Efron in that
Chris Rock
role
and Zac Efron?
would have been.
Oh, I would have
perfect.
taken Zac Efron over him in a
I mean, I'll take
heartbeat.
Zac Efron
In
behind
a
the woodshed.
heartbeat.
No, like I feel like he's better suited for that type of role because I feel like he showed his chops a little bit in the Ted Bundy movie that he did. Like he's got a little bit more.
Oh,
He was actually good in that Ted Bundy
He's
movie.
got a little
He was.
edge to him. I
Yeah.
feel like he's got that pretty face, but he's got that. He's got that Keanu Reeves.
I really appreciate
Gosling
that.
edge.
That's a great cast replacement, Andrew.
Yeah,
I think so.
Zac Efron.
Efron,
Oh,
baby.
absolutely.
Efron.
Can we Photoshop him in?
Maybe.
In my dreams.
Maybe I can.
So,
Maybe where there's a will, there's a way.
Andrew, I feel like you might have some nitpicks with this movie. Anything you want to?
I feel like I already gave a few of my nitpicks, and I can't remember what they were. For starters, it just was kind of blah.
Yeah,
No one felt. You didn't feel the movie was blah.
I
liked it.
didn't have like a plot nitpick, but I feel like the twist at the end was like, meh. That's
it was-
I liked the rest of the movie, but the twist
Well, I
was
feel
not
like
as good as
that's
some of
the
the other
problem. Like,
Saw ones.
you're living up with Saw the original. How are you gonna top that? And then they give this long will, and they show like the flashbacks to like where
Yeah.
he alluded to it. I'm like, okay, cool. That was a boring part of the movie. Why are you alluding back to it? I don't care. It just was very. It was a very boring movie, I will say.
You know who my first guy
Mine
was?
is-
That's
mine is
pretty
the
ridiculous,
death.
but okay.
I mean, it's not ridiculous. It was generally
I'll
a
wait
boring
for my
movie.
turn.
Aside from the comedic parts and the deaths, it was boring.
You know who I thought the killer was at first?
Who?
Samuel L. Jackson
Chris-
or Chris Rock. I thought he was like a
No,
lunatic.
I thought it was Chris Rock's ex-wife that they
Oh.
only showed for like a second.
I thought it was Chris Rock. having like a mental breakdown where he couldn't remember what he was actually doing.
Yeah.
For a few parts. That would have been cooler. I would have taken that over this.
Yeah.
This,
Oh my God.
You
Chris
killed
Chris
my
Rock is
daddy.
actually the killer.
Whatever
That
it
would
was.
have been weird.
Yeah,
That would have been strange.
that would have been more of like a the dark half kind of that movie, or plenty of other movies.
Right.
So,
Club.
so can I have my
Yeah.
nitpick turn?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I have two nitpicks. One, to go off of what Andrew was saying about when Samuel L. Jackson died. I hated that I knew going into it, he was going to die either way. And I feel like everyone knew he was going to die either way. Like, there was nothing at that point that he could do except shoot him and make him die and him die. Because they were both, like, he had the option to pretty much kill both of them, or he was already going to die. And, like, you kind of knew going into that, like, there was, like, Samuel L. Jackson was, like, dead. He should have said his last words to his father at that point, because there was no way he could have lived in that, like, situation that he put him in.
But I don't begrudge Chris Rock's character from trying to save his father.
Of course.
Obviously, you have to try to.
But at the same time...
But he had to have known that it was going to be a trick.
If his dad is... Yeah, exactly. And that's, like, the internal battle that he's having. But I feel like that was, like... You should have just shot him. And maybe then, I don't know. I mean, maybe then there was another alternative thing, or someone else was involved, or whatever. And
well,
then,
the tripwire still would have went off, and Samuel L. Jackson would have still been killed. And Chris Rock probably would have stood in front of him and been killed, too.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
There was no way out to that. But also, in addition to that, I didn't like that that his partner got killed so early.
Well,
in the
obviously
movie.
he didn't.
Wait, no, I know that, but I mean, it seemed like early. In general, it just seemed like I was like, wow.
Obviously, in retrospect,
it's
like,
partner?
okay, that's
they
fishy,
didn't even give
and they don't show
any
like
background on him, really.
Yeah.
And I get where they're going with that, but like at the same time, I'm like, you don't know this guy at all, and you just kill him, and you're like, okay, so he's just like, I get that's how you throw him off,
Can I say this? Can I take my take back just a bit?
Yeah.
I do think that the surprise twist ending was actually pretty good, but it never really felt like a twist. It just felt like
there wasn't a twist. It
wasn't like, wow. It was just kind of like, oh, that's actually really good, but I don't really care either, because they killed him off. Maybe he should have been alive the whole time throughout the movie and having all these things happen, and then you would have suspected. I don't know. Maybe he should have been suspected, and that's why it didn't feel like a twist.
I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked. Like at the end of the first Saw movie.
No, that's the problem. It's a tough thing to do, but I feel like if they kept him alive longer, maybe it would have been a little more of a like if they had made him more of like a he's helping him, or like you to make him least suspected. Not that he's dead, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that dead guy's back. And
dare I say that? Chris Rock is Morgan Freeman to that guy's Brad Pitt, and obviously in Seven, Morgan Freeman develops a connection with Gwyneth Paltrow as Brad Pitt's wife in that movie, and then obviously that puts the emotional stakes so much higher, like something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you
sort of
lose
element
any care
like that.
for that guy. You don't care about because you never really get this emotional attachment to him in the beginning of the movie.
But obviously, like you're meant to feel for him at the end with what happened to his dad.
Yeah, but you don't really care.
But he's still a monster that's killing.
I don't care
people,
when at the end of the movie. I'm like, I don't care about this guy. He looks like he should be selling khaki jeans. I don't care. Or like, I really don't. But I really don't give a fuck about his character in this movie at the end, because he was fucking boring the entire time. Yes, whatever you say, I'll do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. You're my idol. Let me be your fucking bitch-made bitch. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, he just...
They could have... Yeah.
So weak.
It definitely was...
He was a weak villain.
So I agree with you. I think the twist...
Kevin Spacey, you can say what you want to say about him.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that movie...
That's a villain. That guy wasn't a villain. That was some, like, fucking guy that goes to Starbucks every day.
Kevin Spacey's always played a good villain between, John Doe in Seven and Kaiser Soze
and in real
Usual
life.
Suspects and in real life.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, he's a villain everywhere. Right. Yeah. Kevin Spacey's just
a weak, very weak villain.
Time for best deaths. Katrin.
Oh.
What do you got?
So my best death, I think, honestly, the one that really sticks in my head that after like watching this whole movie and like letting it marinate a couple days.
Let it marinate.
I can't get the finger death out of my head.
That's was mine too.
Honestly the one that I like. And watching him like pull the fingers off, and like the whole thing
it's
was
disgusting.
I could barely watch it. I feel like it was so gruesome. It was like it was awful. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was very very gruesome.
Can I just paint you a quick picture?
Sure,
Yes.
go ahead. Paint away.
Let's say Chris Rock is in the same situation, and instead of his dad having the blood transfusion where all the blood's coming out, it's his partner, and the villain is his dad. That would have been a lot more, like,
intriguing.
even if Samuel L. Jackson, even though it seemed obvious throughout the movie, I was like, oh, maybe it's him, because he hates... It would have been a better... It just would have...
But it would have been a better twist.
It would have been a better twist. Not even a twist. It just would have been more emotionally involved towards it. Because you would have been like, this guy's either got to kill his dad or save his partner, who's done nothing wrong.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that there was meant to be a quote-unquote twist in this.
It was a twist. What do you mean?
No. I mean, you find out who the killer is, which you're going to find out who the killer is, and then he fakes his own death. Like, it's the same thing in Scream, or like any of the other basic horror movies, like the killer fakes his own death. Like, it's a basic horror movie rule. It's not necessarily a twist,
Yeah,
per se.
Scream did call it. That's right. You're absolutely
so
right.
I would say that this would really be a movie that you anticipate that his dad is going to be in some sort of game because he hasn't reached him in days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's someone out there killing cops. His dad got a medal for whatever. Like, I mean, it sets you up to expect that he's going to be somewhere later on in the movie. So, there's no twist. This is not a twist at the end.
No, what would have been a twist if he was the killer?
The
he's not.
only twist is that it's his ex-partner. Or his dead partner.
Right, but
that's the twist.
That's because he
That's the
faked
twist.
his own
That
death.
he
Like,
barely-
but
but he knew for like-
But if
Then
you
he
have
knew
to
for like a
define
week.
the twist of the movie, that is the
It's
twist
not
of
like-
the
But
movie.
that's the problem, is that he knew him for like a week.
Right. Well, I don't know
There's
how long.
no emotional involvement towards
Yeah.
that person. That's the problem, is they pick someone that you don't really care
I understand.
about.
I understand what you're saying.
That's all.
Absolutely.
All right,
I get
all
what you're saying. All right, so I agree with the finger scene. That was my best death. That was disgusting, and that was the most uncomfortable one to watch. With the first one being a close second, I would think. Andrew,
But
what about you?
The first one, though, hold on, wait, sorry, before you go. The first one, though, was so fast.
Yeah.
That was why. That
Yeah.
was why that was a little bit different.
Yeah. Agreed.
The finger one was very slow.
Agreed.
Yes. Sorry.
Andy,
Andrew.
I don't
Andy,
know.
my
I
boy.
like the one with the I thought it was unique was the glass one where the guy was getting glass shot into his
Oh my
neck.
god,
that
I
was
know. That was
terrible.
awful.
Like that felt like to me like he was Jesus getting whipped on the back, just lacerated, and whatever that machine was that he was just
Yeah.
putting into it.
Yeah, that was gross.
The other one was good too, though, with the hut sergeant, or the hut captain,
The head. Yes, the head of the
Yes.
where they just every once in a while they would just show her neck on the thing, like
With the
slice.
wax.
I was like,
Yeah, that was
when
gross
she was
too.
slicing her spine.
Yeah.
and then she
She
got
had-
waxed straight out of her face.
There was no way that she would. I mean,
No, you were either getting your
could
face
not,
melted
you were-
or your neck cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Fuck that.
Yeah.
That
There was
captain.
no way she was
Captain, my
gonna have it.
captain.
But that's also a problem with the Saw. Sorry to go back to like the original Saw games, but like that's a problem. Like she has, I mean, she can cut her like spine off. She's gonna die. Like there's no way that she's not gonna.
Would you rather die quick? Or would you rather die slow and
Right.
painful? Yeah.
But Jigsaw always had a way out. She really does not have a way out in that situation.
Well, get paralyzed and have a burned face or die.
No, that's the other thing
pretty
too, though,
much.
is none of them had a way out because they all died while they were getting out of it. Like
Yeah.
the guy that got electrocuted,
Right.
the guy with the fingers,
Right.
he was getting out and he died.
was
The
trying
first
to
one,
get out and-
he died.
Yeah.
While he was doing it, so it was kind of like.
Well, he
no,
didn't
you're
jump
gonna-
off in time. He didn't rip his tongue out in time. That's,
He didn't rip his tongue out.
I get
fast
that, but he
enough.
finally, that one was.
But I feel
gruesome.
like Jigsaw gave them more time to really consider.
Yeah, because when
it.
they finally figured it out, like it was. Even though he was getting out, though, like he was getting pulled up, so he couldn't get out of the
right,
water.
it's much,
Yeah.
it's a
So
much
it was
faster.
more like
it's a
and
faster
and
pace.
Samuel L. Jackson. There was no chance for him to get out.
No,
of that.
absolutely not.
That was like a fuck you. Like you're
Yeah.
still gonna die.
And it's like hopefully your son makes a good choice.
because Chris Rock did everything that he was supposed to do, and he still
yeah.
died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's what
was tough.
that's the other problem with it too. Is like
he doesn't have the same rules.
He
has
cheats
no
at the
rules.
game.
Cheats. So maybe. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm putting all this all together right now, and maybe in the next one they're gonna say that, and they're gonna punish him for something. That would be cool.
Maybe. Hey,
Let me write the script for the next one.
Yeah, you should. Get on that. So regarding haunted attractions, which we always talk about, I'm going to say no to this here. Because, so the Saw franchise has been turned into haunted houses at Universal parks in past years multiple times. And they've been consistently ranked among the worst each year. Because I feel like the Saw franchise, it's all focused on gore. So like that's all they can do in haunted houses and have people pop out at you in pig masks, which gets super repetitive in a haunted house.
Well,
like, yeah, it's cool to see like the gore gags and stuff, but it's not gonna scare you. You know?
Well, the problem is going to like a haunted attraction. You don't want to like make it seem too real and scare you that much with that much gore. Like you can't have like blood splatter on you.
That's what Universal does though, because they make movies, so they do it at their theme parks. Every Halloween.
But they're not gonna have blood splatter on. Like, you need to have, like, a 4D experience, I feel like, for Saw.
4D?
Yeah. Okay. Meaning they, like...
Fair enough.
Cut you with a chainsaw a little bit.
So, like, you can actually, like, see your hand in, like, virtual reality and they cut your hand off?
Just a little... They
and
give you a
it
little
just vibrates
nick.
on your bracelet or something like that? Okay, fair enough. All right.
Or they splatter you with blood. Like,
yeah.
And all of a sudden you have some blood on your face.
All right,
and then
be like Alien Encounter.
Yeah,
and then they sue you because they got a stain on your shirt.
I guess now is about as good a time as any to reveal that we will be talking about. If you've made it this far on the episode, you deserve to hear this. That we are going to be talking about the scariest theme park ride ever created in history, the extraterrestrial alien encounter at Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom. In June, we will be doing that. So more details to come. Just a little tease for you. A little tease. All right, MVP. I feel like there's one answer. If you want me to go first, I'll go first.
Go ahead, you go first.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, 100%. How could it be anybody else? That's part of the movie.
I'm also going to say Chris Rock. And Otis agrees too.
Otis agrees too. Thank you, Otis, for chiming in. Please be quiet.
I was going to say Samuel L. Jackson. Because that is a tasty burger.
Do you mind if I have a sip of your tasty beverage to wash it down with?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll just take
he was
If I had my choice, Samuel L. Jackson or Chris Rock, I'm going with Samuel.
Yeah,
okay.
he was pretty great.
Fair enough. I mean, they're the two biggest characters in the movie. They probably, are the biggest part of the movie, I'd say. So, easy to make those suggestions there. So, guys, last question. Would you watch a sequel to this movie?
Absolutely.
Andrew?
No. Because we've already seen what happens with sequels to these movies.
You are right, though.
Fuck sequels. I'm all done with sequels. Unless it's Phantasm 8, I don't want to watch it.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong about.
We've already seen
sequels.
Saw sequels.
No. Some of them have no. I disagree.
No.
I disagree.
Obviously,
Pass.
because you're obsessed with the same
I'd say
stupid
sequel.
movie
Absolutely.
over and over again.
I'd like to see all of them. I think I might even start rewatching all of them.
I said this before.
I would assume you would.
I said this before, but if Chris Rock's involved in the sequel, I'll watch it. Absolutely. If he's not in it, then I don't care.
I don't think he's going to be in it, though.
It's going to be. I'm sure it would be a direct continuation of his story. It ended on such a cliffhanger. Yeah. Like, how can it not be, right?
He's going to.
So he kind of has to be,
unless he didn't like it.
I mean, I think he probably liked it. I don't know. I mean, he co-wrote it and produced it. So
I mean, he was in like 8 Grown-Ups, so he'll probably do it.
Oh my gosh! I think he'll do another one.
All right, fair enough. Okay, cool. Any final thoughts on Spiral, you guys, before we wrap this up for the night?
I really liked it, and I thought it was awesome to see it in the movies, especially because that's the only place you can see it right now.
I know, it's
correct.
Pretty cool. It's a cool aspect.
So,
good to get back in the theaters.
I'd say final thought is go back to the movies, go see Spiral, and get some popcorn and some. If they sell beer and wine at your local movie theater, get a beer. Or
hopefully, they have
wine.
ices for you.
Or an icy, or a Mountain Dew.
How many thumbs?
Some Junior Mints.
Yeah, some Junior Mints.
Love the Junior Mints.
Minty chocolate. It's delicious. How many thumbs would you give this movie?
I give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Just up.
Gato.
Way up. Not way up, but way up.
Not way up.
So that's like a B+.
I'd say 2 thumbs way up.
Way up. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna start going. Yeah.
Andrew, anything further on Spiral from the Book of Saw?
I mean, it was great that movie theaters are open again. I'm so excited for that. Can't wait to see something that I really want to see, like Candyman. The movie was solid. Wasn't bad. Wasn't great. It was a movie. I'm over it. hoping the next one's better.
I want to see A Quiet Place too.
That
I'm sure we will.
I
we will
can't
see.
wait for that.
I'd say that if you're a fan of the Saw franchise, you're probably going to see this movie anyway, and I'd recommend that you do. I think it has enough in there that you're going to enjoy it, and I think that it's going to satisfy longtime fans and set the path for probably a few more sequels, if I had to guess correctly, because I think this is doing pretty well at the box office, which is good. So, with that being said, I think that's all we have tonight on Spiral from the Book of Saw. This has been another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks again for tuning in. We all certainly appreciate it, don't we, guys? Don't we?
Oh, yeah. Let me get a hug.
All right. It was cute at first, but let's reel it in. All right, but hey, if you want to follow us on social media, here's where you can do so. You can go on YouTube and Facebook and just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us there. You can also find us on Twitter at Hometown Horror and on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. You can email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And how could I possibly forget this? We have a website.
We do.
Catherine!
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about
Talk
that.
about it! Hashtag news at the end of the episode.
Wow, oh my gosh. We need to insert this somewhere else in the beginning of the episode that I totally forgot about it. So yes, we launched ahpod.com.
Woo-woo.
And that's our new website. It
looks great.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
You can check out our podcast.
Designed by Kat.
On social media and stuff. There's a few things. It's very basic for right now, but we're hoping to grow and have a blog and do a lot more with it.
Do some merchandise.
Do some merch and stuff. So I'm super excited about it. It's
excellent.
Amazing. I completely.
I put it in all the bios of the bio pages of our social media, so people can find it that way. But where can they find it again? What's the URL?
It's ahhpod.com.
ahpod.com. How about that? A website, folks. Who'da thunk?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Oh my goodness.
Me too.
I know. I feel like.
But here's the thing: you can also listen to our show on the website, along with pretty much anywhere else you listen to podcasts: Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, etc., wherever the fuck you listen to your podcasts. But do it on ahpod.com. That'd be pretty cool. Go see our website. Drop us a line. Say goodbye to your listeners, folks. I've been joined by Kat and Andrew. Thanks both. Bye.
Adios, muchachos.
Good night.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.